All right, welcome on in to another episode of Tier List Tuesday. This, of course, is, if you're watching live, a special edition that we're doing on, late Wednesday night because we had some technical issues on the actual Tuesday. But nonetheless, as you know, we are talking about Green Lantern characters, specifically all the Earth-based Green Lantern characters. We're going to do a tier list. We didn't come up with the topic out of nowhere. Actually, you voted on it. And if you are new to the channel, then you can always head to the post, the community section of the YouTube channel and vote for your choice of topic from 4 different options usually, and Green Lantern's characters were the winner this week. So with me today, as always, to talk about Green Lantern characters, I've got John. How are you doing today?
I'm ready. I'm ready to talk some Green Lantern. So yes, great. It's a little belated. We apologize for that. Again, I will once again say this: fuck Optimum. But everyone up and left the state with their bullshit taxes, so we're stuck with Optimum. It's either that or Frontier, and Frontier also sucks. So we are not good enough for Verizon fiber optics.
Yeah, it's weird that Verizon just doesn't want to mess with us.
Yeah, and then there's GoNet Speed, which is apparently really good, but it's only internet. And my dad doesn't want to get it because he needs to watch sports.
These are all issues we'll get into, I'm sure, more so down the road. But right now, John, as we usually do starting off the show, we talk about what was the topic on last week's show. I like the music. This is a
good rock soundtrack.
It's good. So we usually start the show off by talking about last week's Tier List Tuesday topic because the poll is available for you all to vote on, and it over the course of the previous week, you guys went in and put in your votes and did your tier list for all the Batman movies that we ranked last week, all the theatrically released ones at least. John, so with that, let's quickly take a look at what the final results of that are, shall we?
Yes, so we'll zoom into this, and this was our list. More or less, we both got different things in regards to what we consider, but Dan usually won out. But the first one is Dark Knight Rises. Most people voted S tier, but some A. Couple B, 1 C, very nice sort of diagonal kind of thing going on. The Batman, less so. You got 4, 4, 1, and 2 in terms of S to C. And then Dark Knight is pretty much heavily goated. Most people voted for S, but a couple people in A, not quite as great. But for most, however, the Lego Batman movie, most people voted A, but a couple in B and 1 in C. Tisk tisk. Batman the movie, you had one person in S tier.
Was it Frankie's fault this time? I don't know.
Yeah, I bet it was. But you have S tier, but this was pretty even. A and B, and then one person in C. Gross. Then same with the Batman, the original Batman, the original Dark Batman with Michael Keaton, and mostly an S, couple A, 1B, 1C.
Yeah.
Batman Mask of the Phantasm, mostly A, but a lot in S, and 1 in B, and then Batman Begins, mostly A, but a lot in S. Then Batman Forever is mainly B. D, pretty sure that was Frankie who voted that because he's a loser. No, I'm just kidding. But one person in A, so that's good.
Chicks dig the car.
And then Zack Snyder's Justice League, 1 in S, couple in A, mainly in B, but 1 in C. Batman Returns, couple in S, mainly in A, couple in B, 1 in C. And then Batman vs Superman, mainly C votes. Suicide Squad, C and D votes.
Yep.
Justice League was kind of the downturn of the opposite of the Dark Knight Rises, downturn mostly in D. And then, of course, Batman and Robin in D. So this was the most votes. Dark Knight, Batman, Dark Knight Rises, the Batman, mainly in S. The most votes for A, Batman Begins, Lego Batman movie, Batman Mask of the Phantasm, Batman Returns, Batman the movie. Mainly in B was Batman Forever and Zack Snyder's Justice League. Mainly in C was BVS and Suicide Squad. And then the bottom of the barrel, scraping that shit bottom of the barrel, was Batman and Robin. and Justice League, and
The theatrical version of the Justice League.
the
Anyway,
average.
all right,
And
cool.
now with the averages, is very Dark Knight is the only one that
Yeah,
stayed up there.
it's
You know,
and you know what, deservedly so. But with that, guys, that was Batman. Now we're
I'm
here.
still you know what, I
It's
will say this
yeah.
before we move on. I'm still kind of offended that you didn't think I would put Dark Knight in S. I'm a little offended by that. Like, I
Me?
know I have weird
Did I
opinions,
say
but like, you were
I
like,
don't know.
because you were ready to fucking like duke it out. Like, you were ready to just reload those arms like Henry Cavill style and just ready like to put him
Yeah,
up. But
I
I'm like,
can't. Yeah,
I
anyway.
fucking love
Yeah.
the Dark Knight. I don't talk about it as much as you do, but I'm just saying, I think it's a. I own that. I own 2 copies of that movie. I own the Batman mask
Mm-hmm.
version. That's like I don't know where the DVD is. I have to find it, but it's like a bat. It looks like a Batman mask, and you you flip it open, and then I have it on a regular DVD. But I own 2 copies of the Dark Knight. I own Batman Begins. Okay, I'm just saying. All right, just saying.
Apparently, I wasn't the only one who thought that. So there you go.
Why would I put Dark Knight in anything except S tier? Come on, man. Come on. I have
I don't
weird opinions.
know.
I get it. I love Batman Forever more than the first 2. I get it. I'm weird. I love Lego
Yeah.
Batman. I love Batman the
Well,
movie, but I'm just saying. Just saying. Don't
that
be
was
so quick to
last.
judge.
It's hey, it's all good. But that was last week. We're here to talk about Green Lantern, as you were pointing out there. Before we let the ranking begin, about for the Green Lantern Corps, John, we do want to look at the poll, the final results of the poll that gave us the
Yes.
winner. That is the Green Lantern characters option. So, of course, we had 4 choices. Spider-Man movies came in with 16% of the vote. John Wick movies, got only 10% of the vote. And MCU Phase 1 movies for a second week in a row, coming in second at 26% of the vote. Maybe if they follow Supergirl's, Power Girl's example, maybe they'll win next week. Green Lantern's characters came in with almost half of the vote, 48%. And hence why we are doing a tier list Tuesday today for all the Earth-based Green Lanterns. Because if you talked about every single Green Lantern character, we would be here for years because the millions of different, versions that are out there. So we wanted to narrow it down a little bit. And then, but if you guys want us to go into some of the alien Green Lanterns, we can talk about them and other
We
colors
can go into the like
that too.
all-star like other
Yeah,
teams like Star Sapphires and the Indigo Tribe, like the more well-known like Saint Walker for the blue, or Avarice
yeah,
is Larfleeze for orange and that kind of thing. We could do that too. But
yeah. There you go.
that's a bold statement. I don't know if I 100% agree with that, but it's up there. It's one of my favorites. It's definitely damn right Elite Easy.
Read that in Sheldon's voice.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
There you go. Yeah, and in brightest day and in blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power, Green Lanterns light. There you go. Um,
Okay, just because you said that doesn't mean what I was thinking. You can't read minds.
yeah. Hey, Bane. Bane is here. Wow. Okay, John. All right, calm down.
Hey, there you go, right
That's
there.
great. Hey, Marco is here. Hi, Marco. Marco Ramos. Welcome on in. Kilowog. You know what? Kilowog is not on today's list, but we will get into that. Again, if you guys want us to do more of the Alien Lanterns, other like Sinestro as well, because we had to narrow the scope a little bit. Because like I said, there's so many options we would get into otherwise. With that said, John, before we actually do the tier list, why don't you walk us
Yes.
through the 8 lanterns that we are ranking today?
Yes. So the first one is the one that's easily forgotten about. Co-created by the man who co-created Batman, Bill Finger. The Alan Scott iteration. Now, this is very different. They tried to retcon it to make it like retroactively he's part of the like this Green Lantern Corps, like the space cop version, but he is the Golden Age version. He founded his magic lantern ring through a magic lamp, a magic green lamp. So Alan Scott he was reintroduced in like a modern iteration, and I think they made him gay or something, which was an interesting choice at the time. That was I think for the New 52. But the original version, he was regular guy, pretty much a regular guy. His big weakness was the color yellow, And I think that was early for Hal Jordan too. But Alan Scott was essentially, it was through magic. It was not through hard science fiction kind of stuff. So, but yeah, Alan Scott was Golden Age, but then the more popular iteration, and every single iteration afterwards follows the Silver Age version introduced in the early 60s with Hal Jordan. Hal Jordan, considered by many to be the greatest Green Lantern of all time, not just out of universe, but in universe. One of the most powerful beings to ever hold the ring. Briefly became Parallax in the 90s, and then, in the late 2000s, they brought him back. But he's a very, like, kind of, they played the character many different ways. I know Nathan Fillion kind of played him more of his dick, but he's usually kind of a level-headed, kind of stoic character, but still has a bit of charm to him. And then John Stewart, you have the very, like, hard-edged kind of character. And he was an architect, then he became a marine, and then he became part of the Green Lantern Corps. He's very much like, kind of like a by the books, level-headed kind of dude. Maybe not level-headed, but like can reach into, just like, has a very, like, very by the books kind of mind. Like, it's hard to say, but Guy Gardner, the one we know of prominently because of Superman. We do have the Guy Gardner who's kind of the hothead douchebag, wild card. Can't really predict anything when it comes to Guy. Not really many people's favorite, but exactly. But Guy Gardner, very interesting character. Then we have Kyle Rayner, who was kind of just thrown the ring after Hal Jordan killed the entire Green Lantern Corps, and Kyle Rayner was like the last guy, and the Guardian was like, here's the ring, and he didn't really know what to do with it. His girlfriend got fridged. We don't talk about that. Pretty much anything in regards to certain lanterns we just don't talk about, but he's more of the creative, artistic mind. He eventually became Ion, and then, like, the White Lantern, the combination of all the spectrums after Blackest Night, I believe. Yeah, and then Simon Baz was the modern iteration, was the first main modern iteration of the 21st century. Kind of a bland character, but Jeff Johns is part Lebanese, so he wanted to introduce a Lebanese character. So he was like a guy who got convicted for something he didn't do, got sent to Guantanamo Bay, and then, because of his experiences, got the Green Lantern ring. And but he also holds a Glock for some reason, because he's dumb. And then we have Jessica Cruz, despite witnessing a lot of hardship and trauma and dealing with a lot of terrible things in her life, overcome all of that to produce great will and became part of the Green Lantern Corps. Although she's not the last, we have the newest iteration with Sojourner Joe Mullen, who was in Far Sector, and then she retroactively got added to the mainline continuity because, I don't know much about her, but she was essentially like a police officer, tried to do the right thing, and then got gifted the Green Lantern ring. So all of them have their own attributes, but we're here to rank them. I'm probably going to piss some people off in regards to this, but here we are.
Yeah. So let's do that, shall we? So before we actually start the ranking, because I know we're building up to it and promise we'll get there, but I wanted to point out in the chat, in the live chat, I pinned it at the very top. There's a link. You guys can go in and you can take part and vote for your ranking of these 8 Green Lanterns, all the ones from Sector 2814. There might be quite a lot of them here, but you know what? We will definitely have a chance to vote for all of them. So with those 8, we're gonna go mostly in the chronological order from the oldest, from the earliest introduction to the newest. Therefore, we won't get to the ladies until towards the very end, but we will start with Alan Scott. John, how would you rank Alan Scott as a Lantern? I think for me, I don't think of him as, overall super memorable, considering Hal Jordan and John Stewart are the the ones that a lot of people remember and
Right.
recognize today. So for me, I would probably put him in the A or B tier. But what do you think?
I was leaning towards B personally. I was leaning towards um that because, like, he, as you said, he's so different from everybody else. He was part of the JSA. He was great. Like, no, his weakness was wood, not yellow. Hal Jordan's was yellow. His was wood. That was his big weakness, was wood. Um, Gotta love it. Same with the sonic screwdriver. Weakness is wood. Doesn't work on wood. For me, I think I would have put him in B tier, but the fact he was the first, I feel like A tier, like purely for a respectability kind of vibe. Like, yeah, he's very different because it's more based on magic. They try to retroactively make it part of the core, and then it didn't work. But Alan Scott is a very, um, you know, I feel like there's a respectability. Like, I would normally put him probably in B tier. He is an interesting character. He does have a lot of interesting attributes. His kids are Todd Rice and Jennifer Hayden. They did their own thing. They were shown in the Stargirl series. So I think he has a lot
Yeah.
of good attributes. I don't know a ton about him. I've read like a couple JSA comics with him, but I know more about like the core members. But I still, out of respect, like, I feel like I got to give him A, and he's had some good comic runs and whatnot. So normally B, but I'll give him A for respectability points. I don't know if you agree with that.
He has a cape, D tier.
No capes.
No capes.
No
There you go.
capes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's C for you right now, Enterprising? We haven't gotten to the ladies yet, but okay. Yeah, Alan Scott to me, yeah, A tier is okay. I like you said, he's the first. He's memorable in that way. He's definitely got the most unique look of all the lanterns. Clearly,
Mhm.
you know, a thing from his time, as it were, from that era of the comics. For a cape, Darth Vader, he does. The Dark Lord does have a cape as well, and most people would rate him as an S tier villain. Actually, that could be the greatest movie villains of all time. That's gonna be a broad list if you were to do a tier list for that. We'll talk about that later. Okay, I think A tier is good, John. I think we can agree on that. So, Alan Scott, we'll throw in the A tier. So. That brings us now to, of course, probably the most well-known, the most popular Lantern, Hal Jordan, who for most people, it was their very first and probably their most recognizable version of Green Lantern, to the point where we know currently in the new DCU, we are getting a Hal Jordan as the veteran Lantern. Of course, he goes on to there's an evil character arc for him that he can go down. But John,
Yes.
of
And then we
course,
don't talk about Arizia Rab. We don't talk about her. Less said about her, the better. Uh, um, but yes, he did get his live action appearance with you know, with the main film. I've read a bit of Hal Jordan, and I think honestly, I think he's kind of he's okay. Like, he's not that great to me. Like, I don't find him to be terribly interesting. Like, he's just like, I think the problem with his character is like, oh, he's the greatest because of that, you can't really do anything with him anymore. I feel like he's done everything. And I, Eric, I kind of agree with you. Hal Jordan is kind of whatever. Like, I kind of,
I don't
he's
know.
like,
I feel like
okay.
it's I feel like it's the same thing as like Romeo and Juliet people think is very cliche, but it's because Romeo and Juliet
Was the
created
first
the
to do it.
cliche. It's like it's the first to do it. I think Hal Jordan kind of holds that same. Yeah, I think
No, I
he
know a
holds
bit
that
about.
same place.
I read some of his comics, and he's not a terrible character. I think I think it pissed most people off. I think it pisses off Ryan Reynolds the most. Um, but for me, yeah, like Marco, I feel like they've done everything with him, so they don't know what to do with him anymore. Kind of like Wally West a little bit, where they're just like, we don't really know what to do with him anymore, and he's kind of just done everything. Now, I'm not going to hold that too against. I don't think he's a bad character, but I just don't. Even his earlier stories that I've read, they're good. They're very good. It just, I still don't really find how to be interesting. Like, maybe I need to read some of his like really old stuff. You know, I don't know. I just think thanks, Eric. I don't know. Like, I don't want to put him in S because he was the first like major like fucking Space Corps Green Lantern. Like, I don't. Oh, he's S because he's the greatest. I don't want to do that because I feel like that's kind of boring. I, I wanted to put him in B tier, but like similar with Alan Scott. Like, I feel like for the respectability of what he did, kind of like what you were saying, Dan, with like he started it all. And even though Alan Scott was the one who started the Green Lantern thing, he's started the space cop thing. Like that was, you know, I think it's just like I don't know. I just don't find him to be terribly interesting, but he did start it all.
I'm just gonna say S tier. He's got to. If there's one S tier in this, he's got to be Hal Jordan for me. Um, like I don't know. It's just put aside the Ryan Reynolds movie, right?
No,
It's
I'm not even considering that. That's like not
yeah.
even a thing.
But I mean, look, and it's not like I'm kowtowing like Tony, but like Tony, I agree with you in the sense that he's a definitive Green Lantern. Most people you ask, do you know about Green Lantern? If they know Green Lantern, they will point you to like if you did if you did a perp lineup and asked them to sing back the lyrics from like a Backstreet Boys song, it will most people will be like, "Oh, Green Lantern is Hal Jordan." That's their version. Everybody else is cosplaying, and that's for better or for worse. I think that to me, yeah, I think S tier, Hal Jordan for me.
Um, yeah, I guess I'll put him in S tier. You know, no, I was not gonna put him in D. I was not gonna put him in D. I was gonna put him in like A or B, but I feel like people are gonna kill me if I don't. So I guess I'll just put him in S. Like I don't agree with it. I think he's kind of a boring character, and
I mean, look, okay, I'll give you a veto on another one because that was my one that I used because I
um,
feel like that's
okay. Um, but okay,
okay.
so
But
now
now we
we
gotta
move
get
on
to
to
the
John
John.
Stewart and John Stewart. I don't know, I like John Stewart. I probably like him a little bit more than Hal Jordan, but there's a lot of stuff that happens in the comics that he kind of, sucks at. Like the bro, like I think he didn't commit genocide on a planet or something, and like nobody talks about it for some reason. I think that's what happened, and then he did a lot of kind of fucked up shit. He let a whole planet die. That was it. He there was a time he helped terrorists almost cause the largest race cleansing since Hitler. So he's done a lot of not great shit in the comics. Like, I mean, to be fair, so did Hal. Like, Hal was literally a PDF file in the comics, but he's an S tier, so that's okay. Um, you know, I think John Stewart is a good character. I don't think he's a great character. I kind of it just it's funny that the most popular Green Lantern characters, I don't find them the most interesting. Like I just
Well, I think for a lot of people, they remember John
they
Stewart
grew
from
up
the
with them.
Justice League
Yeah.
animated shows, right? Like that's to me, that's yeah. And then the storyline with Hawkgirl, which we may or may not get a version of that. He's no nonsense. Yeah, it's. By the way, is it just me or Kyle Chandler kind of looks like Tom Cruise in this photo?
I think that was maybe the point because Tom Cruise in Top Gun is essentially Hal Jordan without the
Yeah,
ring. Like,
maybe that's what
um,
they were going for.
I mean, don't get me wrong, that's a thing. Like, here's the thing: if we put in like, I feel like if we put in any respectability thing, it's always going to be A or S tier, and that's just not fair because it's like there's some things as a character he's done a lot of fucked up shit in the comics, and as a character like he's just kind of milk toast. Like I get it, boom, first black character, first major black superhero character along with Black Lightning. I get it, that's very important, and but I think, he's just I think he's a good character. I don't think he's a great character. I don't think there's really a bad Green Lantern, well, outside of one, but I think that's kind of universally agreed upon. Um there's no like really terrible
Okay,
Green
Benny.
Lantern, and I think he's earned his stripes. I think he's a good character. With that, I think I would put him in B tier. I think he's a good beat. I think he's a good character. I don't think he's a great character.
I mean, I was gonna say S tier alongside Hal Jordan, so I don't know. Maybe maybe we lift him up a little bit, but I don't know. It's
I'll
just
settle
because
for A. I'll settle for
yeah,
A.
because like I grew up with. I mean, to me, he's one of my favorites. Like I actually would prefer if you had to ask me, I'd prefer the John Stewart Lantern.
I mean, I think most people do, but I
Yeah,
just, you know,
man, you're getting some booze in the chat now.
yeah, I told you people would not agree with me. There's only one Green Lantern character I would genuinely put in S, and nobody would agree with me on that, and I don't fucking
Hmm.
care. But we'll get to that, you know.
Damn, Eric. All right, the disrespect.
You know, it's fine. It's fine. But now we get to Guy Gardner, and I think he kind of sucked in the beginning, and I think that was the point. But like again, there's kind of like a weird thing is like like kind of what Nathan Fillion was saying. Like he's a piece of shit, but he gets things done, and he doesn't give a fuck about who nobody. He doesn't give a fuck what people say about him, and I kind of like that. Like I like that type of vibe and character a bit. Um, I think Nathan Fillion played him really well in all this, and I like Guy Gardner. I think he's kind of the opposite of Hal Jordan and John Stewart. I think he's a good character, not a bad one. I don't, especially with Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern Corps in Rebirth, with what they did with him was exceptional. What they did with Guy Gardner and that was so good, and I love what they did, and that really like made him way more interesting as a character. But even then, I still like his older stuff where he's just kind of the run of the mill douchebag kind of character and gets one shotted sucker punch by Batman. Like I like both iterations where it's the more morally gray kind of character where he was like a Red Lantern for a bit in the New 52. I think I think well, this is mainly about comics because a lot of these characters have not gotten adaptations, proper adaptations. We had we have two Hal Jordans, one of which we haven't seen yet. We haven't gotten a John Stewart in live action
Live
outside
action.
of Wayne T. Carr, which was a picture that they couldn't even there was footage we couldn't use because they were planning Green Lantern related shit that never happened.
Well, that show
So
got turned into this show, like that other
yeah,
version of that
so
show.
and obviously we have Aaron
Yeah.
Pierre who's gonna, show up eventually. We have Guy Gardner, and then all the other ones haven't shown up in live action ever. So, it's I kind of have to base it on the comics because that's what I've read, that I have to, do that. But I like Guy. He's kind of like between A and B for me. I'm willing to go either depending on what you have to say. I'll go with B, I'll
Hmm.
go with A. I prefer A, but if you really don't like him, I could put him in B.
People are coming for you in the chat for the John Stewart thing. I think B. For me, it's B. Um,
Okay.
yeah. I still think he's gonna die at the start of that show.
I don't think so. But hey,
Um,
I did my own um I did my own list, so I don't even gotta worry about the
yeah. Was Diggle from Arrow a
they
Green
were
Lantern?
leaning towards that, but then they changed it so that he denied the ring, which is like okay, like why fucking do all that? Like it was so funny that they introduced John Diggle and he's a black guy. They're like, he's Green Lantern, and then they had to retroactively do all this stupid shit to make him John Stewart, and then he denies the ring anyway. So it's just like, all right, sure.
All right. Well, with that, we're gonna move on to the next one. By the way, guys, if you don't agree with the combined pick of John and I, John did his own list. He will go over later. We're just doing a combined list right now, and I did
Yeah,
my own list. We'll talk about it in a second. You guys can do your list. It's pinned to the live chat, and you can, even if you're not watching live after the fact, this is going to be the vote. The poll is going to be up for a week, so
hmm
just go in and then put in your vote, and then we're going to talk about it at the end. We're going to actually look at
and he
the
still
live
rocks.
poll
He's got that
results.
leather bomber jacket though. He's got
Yeah.
those gauntlets on his gloves. You know what? It kind of works.
All right. So with that, we're gonna move into the next. Now we're getting to the much lesser known versions outside of if you're a big comic book fan, then you would know
Yeah.
these characters, but for the
Yes.
average audiences, they wouldn't
Yes.
know. But
The
they were the
Green
subject
Lantern.
of the original Lantern show. before the DCU era. Back in, they even cast some
Yes.
actors for it.
Um
Kyle Rayner,
Green
John.
Lantern, yes, the Green Lantern that got the ire of all the feminists in comic book circles because his girlfriend got fridged. Good times. But yeah, this is the one I'm the most unfamiliar with, I think, out of all of the Green Lanterns. I know a little bit from like New Dawn, like after, how Jordan went crazy. So I know a little bit about that. I know about the fridging thing, obviously. That's like famous. That's more famous than him as a character. I do like the mess. I know a little bit in regards to his White Lantern stuff, but outside of that, I don't really know Kyle Rayner as a character all that much. Again, I don't hate him or anything. It's just I'm so unfamiliar with him that like I just can't really like I think he's like from what little I know about him, I think he's a good character, but not great. Like again, similar with a lot of it just I don't like I know about Hal, I know about John, and I came to those conclusions. Here it's just like I would probably put him in B because I don't know enough about him. I don't like and I want to go middle of the road. Um so yeah, I would say like he's a creative character. He's artistic. I think that was a good move. Like you had like the hard edged Green Lanterns, like Hal and John and Guy that thought very practically. The fact that you had an artist be Green Lantern, that was a good move. And I agree with that Enterprise. Like that was a good move for them. Um, you know, I think Kyle Rayner is like I'm kind of leaning towards B and C. I'll put him in B because from what little I've seen of him, I've liked him, but again, not amazing. I don't know what Dan has to say about this. Um,
I
I
mean,
think
I think for me, Kyle Rayner as a B is probably accurate based on Tony, based on my knowledge of him. Tony's like, if he gets a B, then everyone else is C to D.
right.
that mask gets him a D tier for Marco. I mean, he has a really cool suit. I'm trying to see if I can find any more images of him. I would love to see that iteration of the character especially because if I remember correctly, Kyle Rayner had a pretty significant role to play in that original version of the Lantern show.
Yeah, he was gonna be played by Finn Whitrock, I think his name was.
Yeah, like
And
they cast an
then
actor.
Jeremy something was cast as Alan Scott. Those were going to be the two main ones, and then they were going to introduce later lanterns. Yeah, he received the last Green Lantern ring. So, I'm going to put him in B. No offense, but yes, there we go. Finn Whitrock. Oh, he was cast as Guy Gardner. I thought he was cast as Kyle Rayner. Was he Guy Gardner? Sorry, I thought it was okay. My bad. That's fine.
There you go. Okay.
Um,
Yeah, B is
so
not a bad place to be, and it's a different suit. I like just the character itself. The man behind the mask. I think is really interesting. Um, every offense taken for Tony. You guys have a selective memory to remember the fit. Well, it's been a while, man. And they've redone that show like 5 times. So it's
yeah, so the Green Lantern show was actually not supposed to have Kyle Rayner. It was Alan Scott, Guy Gardner, Jessica Cruz, and Simon Bass. Jeremy Irvine. That's who I thought
mm,
of. Who's going to play Alan Scott? So that's what that show was going to be, and then that never. Um, you know,
yeah.
yeah.
All
I
right.
don't think
Well,
they've
we
killed
put him
off
in
any
B tier.
Green Lantern. Yes.
So with that, we're
Simon
gonna move in.
Baz is the next one. D tier. He
Yes.
sucks. Nobody likes Simon Baz. Like they did one good thing with him in Green Lanterns, and that was like the arc with like him giving away his Glock to Batman, where it was like there was like a crossover between the Green Lanterns comic and the Batman comic, where they went to Gotham because there was something with like the Yellow Lanterns and Scarecrow, and there was like a really good like 2 to 3 issue arc of him giving up his Glock because Batman no gun rule, so he gives it up, and and that was a really good arc. And then that was it. He's just so bored. He's like, I'm not a huge fan of Hal, but at least there's a lot of good in him. He's had a lot of good stories. Simon Baez has had almost no good stories and is a boring ass character. I don't think he's horrible. That's why that's why we don't have an F tier, because I don't think anything is that bad. But like if we had an F tier, I wouldn't put him in F tier. I would put him in D tier, because nobody likes Simon Baz. The only person that likes Simon Baz is the guy who created him, and that was Jeff Johns, because he wanted a Lebanese character, so he inserted a Lebanese character, and that's essentially what it was. Exactly, he was unnecessary. He was just kind of made to be made for diversity's sake, which isn't bad, but it just like there's nothing to the they did like the whole terrorism thing with the Guantanamo Bay, and then I don't know, it just you know, it's just all right, let's not
Eric, you'll be okay, Eric. Don't worry.
it'll be okay, Eric. Just we're here thinking
What is our
about you.
Instagram?
You'll be okay.
Hi Hunter.
What is our it's just O_so_curious. Is that what it is?
Yes, that's what it is. Yep.
I don't have Instagram because I try to stay off social media as much as I can.
Yeah, it's actually in the description for the video. You guys can look for it down there.
Yep, in the description below we have like Twitter, and yeah, exactly. Like, he had no personality. He was just, at least Hal Jordan, like, I find him to be kind of boring. Same with Jon Stewart, but at least at least they had a personality. They had good stories. There was something. That's why I would have voted them B. But you know, I get that, because modern iterations of the character. So Simon Baz, sorry, buddy, D tier. Nobody really
Rey
likes you.
Mysterio. It's okay. All right. Well, D tier.
I understand they were trying to go for something different, like having like a full head and like
Right.
not just a domino mask. I get it.
Right.
But
I'm
yeah.
fine with it. There's less comic book stories about the character, and I think that's ultimately what there's not as much to go through, right? I mean, Bane, for example, prefers the mask, so there you go.
No, he's saying his mask is much better. Like,
Oh, I
Bane's
see.
mask
Bane's
is
mask.
much better, because he's getting, because Simon Baz has a luchador mask.
Right.
That was yeah.
Well, okay. Now from that we go to now we get to the two female lanterns, Jessica Cruz, who I think is probably one of the most underrated lanterns to date.
She is the most underrated.
More of her. I think we were supposed to, so she was supposed to be in that show that got canceled.
Simon Baz, Jessica Cruz, Alan Scott, and Guy Gardner, because those were the ones they were not using.
And she's the focus of the new My Adventures with Green Lantern show, right?
Yeah, I hate what they're doing with that, but I'm
Yeah.
still gonna watch the show because I love Jessica Cruz. But that is, spoiler alert. But Jessica Cruz was my first Green Lantern, because that was the one I read in Rebirth. So I am incredibly biased. The reason I love Jessica Cruz so much, and I know people are gonna flame me in the comments, but I just bear with me here. Like, I'm actually gonna be serious for a second. The reason I love Jessica Cruz so much is because, like, she got dealt with such a bad hand, like, literally went through hell and back to hell again, and yet still managed to be powerful enough to wield the greatest weapon in the universe. That is Lexi Fox. I wish I can post your comment, but I can't, because your PFP is not good for YouTube. But she is. I agree with you. I agree. I personally relate to her character, not even though, like, I've never seen my friends get shot in the woods, and she became agoraphobic. No, she's not the only female. There is one more after this. So what I love about her, I just found her to be so innately interesting as a character, and I related a lot to her as a character. Like, the fact that someone who was introverted, scared, shy, and seemingly not powerful, and managed to overcome all of that through willpower to become a Green Lantern, was, like, literally forced the power ring from Earth 3, which goes after the most feared person alive because everything on Earth 3 is opposite, and overcame that to become a Green Lantern is just very awesome. Now you could say, "Oh, Mary Sue." I don't think so. Like she literally starts her journey crying in her apartment because she is has agoraphobia. She can't leave because of, I don't know if you know what agoraphobia is, but that's the fear of like going outside. Like she was so petrified to leave because she was on a hunting trip with friends, two guys just I don't know. I don't know. I don't think they ever state why. They literally killed all of her friends. She was the only survivor. She had major PTSD. Um, and the fact that she went through all of that and still managed to become a very powerful hero was just very, very wonderful to see. And I think she has a fun personality. Like, yeah, she's like very like cagey and shy, but like when she actually comes out of her shell, she's very bubbly and kind and just a wonderful person. And um but even then, I think she did have really good stories in Green Lanterns, and she really carried that book because Simon Baz was so bland as a character. I think they had good chemistry with one another, but I just love how they they really did this character. Like I think um I love her to pieces. Jessica Cruz is will go down as my favorite Green Lantern. I think, yeah, oh, she just has a backstory. No, I think it's just like the the backstory she had overcame everything and still managed to be a great character. I put her in S. Like straight up, I put her in S. She is the only truly S Green Lantern to me. That is I think she's not just like a DEI insert pandering character that Simon Baz could be categorized as. She's actually like there's meat to her character, and she's overcome a lot. And even when she became part of the Green Lantern Corps, and then she had to there was an arc with her and Simon Baz where like they had to like truly earn like the insignia of a Green Lantern. They had to overcome that again. And I would recommend Green Lanterns. It's a very good book. I forget who wrote it, but Green Lanterns for Rebirth was a great book. Like I love the Volthoom stuff. That was really good. But Jessica Cruz for me is my favorite Green Lantern. I love her to pieces. I think with what they did with her, I think they just I don't know what the fuck they missed with Simon Baz and nailed for Jessica Cruz. I don't know in terms of modern Green Lanterns. I love Jessica Cruz so much. I know she was in Fatal 5. I heard that was not very good. So yeah, I just that's what I think about Jessica Cruz. That's a very personal thank you, Frankie G. Brandon Viet. He did a very good job. But that it's a very you're when it's your first for anything, it's like Matt Smith was the first Doctor I watched live. So I'm very partial to that, but I also, love that. But yeah, I love Jessica Cruz. She's my girl. Love Jessica
Yeah.
Cruz to pieces.
I think B is a fair assessment. Where did you want to put her? What did
I
you?
wanted to put her in S.
Oh, you have one veto available, so
I'm gonna use it because if you put Hal Jordan in S, I gotta put Jessica Cruz in S. So
all right, great. I love the idea of potentially getting to see a Jessica Cruz in the DCU eventually. We're getting the animated show, so that will hopefully raise her profile among the general
yeah,
audiences. But
but it's just they're really retconning her backstory. That's the thing. They made her like this really complex like backstory into like she's a teenager going through puberty, and it's like why did you make it so
well,
fucking
I mean
generic and
more.
bland?
I mean, like, more in the sense
No.
that it will hopefully increase the intrigue, like, people will wanna go pick up some comics or
Hopefully.
at least
I know
learn
she
more
became a
about, do some
Yellow
research
Lantern
on
for a
Jessica
time,
Cruz.
and that was kind of dumb,
Yes,
but
I did see that, but, hey, you know what? She's not the only female Lantern now,
no, she's
so,
not.
all this all this masculine energy in the room was broken up by Jessica Cruz, but now we have the newest Lantern, Sojourner
Joe
Joe
Mullen.
Mullen.
She was
Sh-
introduced in Far Sector.
Mhm.
I have literally not read a single thing about this character. So I'm going to put her in C because I don't think she's bad from what I've read about her, but I just literally don't fucking know a goddamn thing. So she goes in C, but I can guarantee you she's probably better than Simon Baz. I get like I've read her character biography, like I skimmed it and like, okay, that sounds interesting enough. But yeah, don't know a thing about her. So I put her in C because she's not on the range of Guy Gardner or Kyle Rayner for B for middle of the road. So
I was just
sorry,
gonna
Joe.
say, I was doing some research. Apparently, I don't know if you've talked about this before on the show, but uh, Di- Diane Guerrero, who was in Doom Patrol, has
Yeah, she
wanted to
voiced the character,
play. Like,
Jessica Cruz.
she wants to voice her again in the new animated show, and
Yeah,
I think she would be a great fit if they wanted to do Jessica Cruz in live
live
action.
action. No, I think she would do
Yeah,
it
I
because
mean,
Crazy Jane
perfect.
was a very good complex character, and I think Diane Guerrero
Yes.
would nail that. So
I mean, I would love to. Yeah, I mean, where's the photo? Here's the photo. Like, I'm sold. Um, Diane Guerrero. We could do a fan cast Friday on a Jessica Cruz Green Lantern. Actually, that would be. If
I
you
would
guys
love to
want to do
see them
that.
on all the lanterns we haven't seen, like all the ones that are not like Kyle
Mm-hmm.
Rayner, Simon Baz, even though nobody really gives a fuck about him. And
Enterprising,
then
like that sounds like a plan. We'll have to put it
yeah.
up to the vote. But hey, I mean, Bane doesn't like the
Yeah,
design
the
of the
mask
mask.
looks fucking stupid.
It just because there's no reason for that. I'm like, it's just meant to look cool, I
I
guess.
don't know. Do we really need a
It's
reason for that? Anyway.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
No, I
Yeah, the
agree. It's
new not the
it's
new lantern. Okay, so Tony, there's two lantern shows coming up. There's the one with
Kyle Chandler and
with our
Aaron Pierre.
guys,
Yeah.
Aaron Pierre, Kyle Chandler, called Lanterns on HBO Max. That's live action. And then the one that we're getting that's animated is a My Adventures with Green Lantern show, which is kind of in line with the My Adventures with Superman animated show that's on Cartoon Network. You can see it on HBO Max.
Hmm.
So, and I don't think the animated show is meant to be in continuity with the DCU. So that's kind of its own thing, its own Elseworld story.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so there's two different. Actually, yeah. So you'll have a live action and an animated Lantern show featuring different lanterns. You know, you'll have
Yep.
Guy Gardner, Hal Jordan, and John Stewart in the live action Lantern show next year, which is DCU canon. And then the My Adventures with Green Lantern. We know it's going to feature Jessica Cruz, but also Kyle Rayner, I believe, is going to be in there, and potentially as the love interest for Jessica Cruz, which is not necessarily comic book accurate, but you know they're doing their own thing, which is fine.
Hopefully Jessica Cruz
So
doesn't get fridged.
in her own show, I don't think that's gonna happen. But you know,
I wouldn't put it past them.
but hey, these are our yeah, Gurren Lagann, yeah, as a mech anime. The design is, yeah, I could see it. I could also see like that costume kind of looks like something out of Star Trek minus the gloves.
Yeah, but it's
It's
like
actually it's just over designed, to be honest,
yeah.
ultimately. But John, let's take a quick look at the final rankings. Actually, not there for now. Let's just go back to the what we did. Jessica Cruz, Hal Jordan in the S tier. In the A tier, we've got John Stewart, Alan Scott. Then Guy Gardner and Kyle Rayner ended up in B tier with Joe Mullen, Sojourner Joe Mullen in C tier, and Simon Baz at the bottom of the pile in D tier. So, um, yeah, thought that maybe they're gonna go animated live soups live. Yeah, well, I mean, we actually don't know the release date, Tony, for My Adventures with Green Lantern. So it's in development. We don't actually know when it's coming out. We know Lanterns comes out like the early part of next year. So that's you know a little more concrete in terms of the timeline. But John, we aren't the only ones who voted on this. This was our combined list. I believe you voted on your own personal list. Do you want to quickly walk us through what vote you gave to all the 8 lanterns? And then I can showcase mine for a second here too. So
Yeah.
this is what I did, minus all the ads. For me,
Yeah,
John
mine
Stewart,
has
Hal
a shit
Jordan.
ton of ads too.
Yeah. I put John Stewart and Hal Jordan in the top at the S tier for me. Then I had Alan Scott in A tier. We agreed on that. Kyle Rayner, Guy Gardner, Jessica Cruz for me, all went in the B tier. Jessica Cruz, I might move up a little bit depending on if when I get to read more about her. I think her story, like you described, John, I think you sold me on Jessica Cruz as a Lantern. Then Sojourner Joe Mullen, I think for me, as much like what we did in the combined tiers, a C tier list, primarily because there's not as much content available, not as many stories for her. She's the youngest and newest one. Simon Baz, I feel like if I read more about him, I can relate to him more, given that he's Lebanese and stuff. But Tony prefers my list. I think it's because I have Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart in the A tier list, or S tier rather. So, but with that, John, let's get over to your tier. So your solo tier
Yep.
list. You've got Jessica Cruz in the S tier, and then walk us through the rest.
And then I put Alan Scott in A tier. I put Guy Gardner because I think there's more to him than people realize. And then I put Hal Jordan, Jon Stewart, and Kyle Rayner in B tier. Hal Jordan, Jon Stewart. I don't think they're as great as many say, and Kyle Rayner is good, not great. Joe, I don't know anything about her, and then Simon Baz just sucks. So
Okay. All right, but then hey, we have got some of you folks who are watching live voted on your tier list as well. So what we could do is we could walk through your votes. So right now, the most votes that we have gotten. Actually, let me see if I can refresh this. Maybe. There we go. We got a couple extra votes.
Yeah, I could do it on my end.
Yeah, there you go.
There. Yeah.
So this is what we've got so far. If you want to zoom in a little bit there, this is what everybody so far who has voted on a live poll, which is available for you guys to actually go ahead and vote on in the live chat. So it's right here on screen. The link is in the live chat. You can go to tiermaker.com and vote on your version of the tier list. But most votes category where basically it looks like Hal Jordan got most S votes, only one B and one A votes, so which is understandable.
1A. 1A. Anyway.
Enterprising is like I don't know why, but I give Bass a C. All right, well there you go. Cruz a B, cool. Well, Jon Stewart got majority S
pretty much
votes.
the same. It's just one person voted A instead of S.
And then what about Alan Scott? Let's take a look at Alan Scott.
Mostly A, which I'm kind of surprised about because usually Golden Age characters, a lot of people don't know about them very well. So the fact that he got
Alan Scott is one of the more well-known ones, like kind of like
fair,
a Jay Garrick Flash. But hey, then we got Kyle Rayner, who
he was all across the board: 1S, 4A, 3B, and 1C. Okay, at least I didn't vote for him that badly, but
that's actually, I think Kyle Rayner potentially has Kyle Rayner and Jessica Cruz have the most potential in terms of becoming new favorites of audiences. Hopefully, maybe in the DCU or other iterations that we might get in the future. Then, of course, Nathan Fillion playing our favorite Lantern so far in the DCU, Guy Gardner, the only Lantern we have seen so far.
Yes. 3A, 3B, and 3C. What's wrong with you motherfuckers is voting Guy Gardner for goddamn C? Get the hell out of here.
Fair enough. It's just the bowl cut, That's probably what it is.
Jessica Cruz, no goddamn respect, mainly in B tier, but I was one of the few who voted S, and two assholes voted C.
I got no respect. I'm just okay. Sorry.
Kiss. Anyway, then we have Simon Baz, which is in C, which is surprising because it's mainly in D, but it's
Hey, somebody give him a B tier, B list, B vote.
Sure, fair enough. And then literally Joe has the same exact vote, like is 1B, 4Cs, and 4D, and then the average guy goes from A to B. But yeah, it's pretty
fingers
much
crossed, Bane. Maybe Jon Stewart will be S tier after the Lantern show. Rayner got put in the A tier by Enterprising. There you go. So when you average it out, everybody goes up a little bit. That's usually how averages tend to do. They tend to lift things up towards the middle, and it looks like in this case, everybody got pushed up a tier, or in some cases, Hal Jordan.
You spell Jon Stewart right, but you don't spell my own name right. When we put the goddamn overlay every fucking episode, guys, it's right there. John. My name is not Jonathan. Fuck Jonathans. They suck. John. There we go. I will not listen to if you call me John, I'm like, that's like calling me George. That's just not my name. It's just not my name. Get the fuck out of here.
What's that song they call?
Scotty doesn't know.
No, it's like that's not my the song. That's not my name. But it's the Ting Tings. Remember?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't? Okay. Am I the only one who's it's anyway, it's the joke's gone. The moment's gone. Tony's calling you Juan Sarisso. Yeah. No, it's the Ting Tings. It's like they call me Hell, they call me Stacy, they call me Her, they call me Jane. That's not my name. It's like they call me Juan, they call me Johnny. That's not my name. That's yeah. All right, cool.
Anyway, you're looking up the
Okay.
Genius lyrics right fucking now. Are you kidding me?
No, I figured it out. I figured it out.
I see you. I see you. You were looking up the lyrics. Get the fuck out of here, you poser.
What are you talking about? You can't prove anything. What about Jonathan Kent? Well, I mean, yes, if you were to shorten Jonathan Kent, it would be Jon, right? I think.
Yeah, no, he's okay.
But how is that relevant anyway? Okay, we're talking about lanterns. Hal Jordan, Jon Stewart,
we're talking
on
about
average practice. Well, yeah. Hal Stewart and Hal Jordan. I just combined the two of them. Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart on average got the most S tier votes. Alan Scott, Kyle Rayner. Kyle Rayner actually going up to the A tier in the average. Jessica Cruz and Guy Gardner in the B tier. Then Simon Baz and Joe Mullen sharing the C tier. Nobody ended up on average in the D tier, which is good to see. All we have is Dan and Danny. Yeah. I go by many names, so any iteration of Dan,
some
Daniel,
who call
Danny,
me Tim,
Fred, or George. I don't know. Well, hello, Filmology. We actually just wrapped up talking about the Green Lanterns characters. John, you want to quickly show us the votes one last time? There you go.
Yeah. So the most votes was this, and the average vote was this. So very balanced, as all things should be.
Hal Jordan, Jon Stewart, I think probably the consensus winners, more or less.
Boring.
I think this is. It's also like just it's the popularity thing.
Hal Jordan. Yeah, tell me more about how much you fucking love the color beige. Get out of here with that.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with the color beige if you like color beige. I'm just saying, there's nothing wrong with liking the color beige. It's all.
I like Jon Stewart. Opinion. Yeah, please tell me how much you fucking love just drinking only water. Boring. Get out of here.
Hey, water is healthy.
It is healthy. I'm just saying. I drink water, like not a soda, nothing, anything with spice. No, okay. Normies. Boring.
Okay. You guys can still vote for your tier list of the Green Lantern characters. It's going to be live, the poll, until next week, and then we'll go over the results.
Speaking of polls,
done. Thank you. That's actually a good. Actually, no, I don't know if it's a good. I don't know if it's a good anime, but it is.
I've heard nothing but great things about Dan.
Yeah,
a lot of people love it.
John Constantine, John read Jeff John's run before talking SPAC. Academy's John verse. Everybody's going after you in the chat with the. I think we got to John during the tier list today. But hey, you know what? This is the tier list Tuesday being done on a Wednesday, but then on Friday this week, like we do every Friday now, is Fancast Friday time, John, and this is where the vote currently sits. We've got Wally West sitting in second with 33% of the vote. Only 7% ahead, but in the lead is Power Girl in her second week of voting. She's looking like she's going to win the vote. Adam Driver sitting in third with 23% of the vote. Adam Driver in the DCU, that would be sort of a reverse.
Go get some sleep, Tony. You need your beauty rest.
And then the Doctor after Billy Piper, as in Doctor Who, only got
nobody
4%
cares.
of the vote. So
nobody gave a fuck.
Which is totally fair.
I voted.
I
for
drink
Wally
water with electrolytes. Yeah, that's good. All right. Well, hey, this poll is still up on the community post section on YouTube. You guys can go and vote for it there. We'll make a decision tomorrow based on where the vote sits. And well, looks like maybe Power Girl is going to be the winner unless things change. Maybe Wally West can come in for the late win in the clutch.
And speed the race.
Yeah, given how close the voting is, maybe the not just the one, not just the option that comes in second, but maybe second and third. We'll bring in next week. Actually, some of the ideas I was thinking about for next week's Fancast Fridays. I mean, we could also do. You talked about it earlier. We could do Jessica Cruz potentially because Diane Guerrero wants to play her. I think there's plenty of other options. Um,
I think most people
Painful,
did.
yeah, voted for Power Girl for. There we go. Great stuff. And then I think for next week's Tier List Tuesday, John, uh, in terms of ideas, we have some ideas. I think every Batman actor could be a good one since we did Batman movies last week for Tier List Tuesday. So this, basically this time next week, next Tuesday, MCU Phase 1 movies, John. If you have the poll from this that led to today's show, we know that MCU Phase 1 movies came in second in voting. So as far as Tier List Tuesdays go, we're going to bring MCU Phase 1 movies back into the poll for the third week in a row. Every Batman actor I think would be a good one. DCEU movies maybe we could do. There's not too many of them. Good choices, Tony. I'm sure we're gonna have one or two of those names in the in the poll later on. Big biceps. Exactly why Power Girl would be a good fan casting. Uh, there you go. All right. Well, hey, so as I mentioned, Tier List Tuesday, you let us know in the comments down below what you would like to see on the poll. The poll will go up tomorrow. As of right now, we're going to have MCU Phase 1 movies on there, potentially every Batman actor, and then there's 2 choices that are empty. So we need 4 choices for the poll for what you would like to see on next week's episode of Tier List Tuesday. And also, like I mentioned, we've got the Fancast Friday poll live right now for this Friday's Fancast Friday. Power Girl in the lead, leading the poll ahead of Wally West Flash, as well as Adam Driver in the DCU. And, the other one being the next Doctor Who after Billy Piper. So, yeah, a lot of you guys voting for Batman actors, potentially, if that is in the Tier List Tuesday poll. All right, well, those are the polls you guys can vote for Fancast Friday and then give us ideas for Tier List Tuesday. But today's Tier List Tuesday, John, we talked about the lanterns, the Earth-based Green Lanterns. Actually, speaking of which, I wonder if you guys would want to potentially, as an option for next week's Tier List Tuesday, do alien lanterns or other, there's many other characters from the Corps that we can talk about, but we would have to look at that as an option. But of course, we did all the Earth-based ones. There were 8 of them, including the oldest to the newest, the youngest to the oldest, and there we go. Batman animated movies would take us forever. I don't know if we want to do that.
A little bit too long.
Worst MCU. Why call it worst? Maybe we could do all MCU shows. I don't know. That would be one. Raimi movies are returning to theaters. FYI, yes, they are. Actually, I think Liz is gonna go check them out. I remember watching them when I was very, very young. How would you have us do the Batman animated? Oh, you mean the Bruce Tim? Okay, that narrows it down somewhat. Okay. Oh, world's biggest geek. Hi. Would you talk about all the Lantern Corps? John, how would we even go about that? I feel like that's a really open-ended topic. Like, how would we?
I think they mean like the colors,
Okay. Well,
like the
John, do you
Red
have all the?
Lantern, the Orange Lantern, the Sinestro Corps, the Green Lantern, the Blue Lantern, the Indigo Tribe, the Star Sapphires, and the White Lanterns and the Black Lanterns.
By the way, good question for who's the lantern that looks like MODOK? Is that character back there? I actually don't know
I
who
don't
that
know.
is. Well, somebody might know in the chat. That's a good question. We'll have to investigate that. It does look like MODOK. All right. Evil Dead. All right, cool. Okay. You know what? Maybe we could do that. World's biggest geek. We could potentially look at all the different colors of lanterns. That might be one to look into down the road. So there you go. I'm not sure there's so many. Exactly. That's the reason why we stuck to Earth lanterns for now. Don't forget the sad lanterns, the new core.
Oh
Yes.
God, yeah. Then you have the ultraviolet lanterns. Fucking stupid.
It
We're
just
talking about
gets
the main
ridiculous
emotional
after a
spectrum.
while. It gets
Like,
ridiculous after a while.
the ones I have that are right here. There it is. The ones that are in that box. I have to
Right.
put it on my camera on it because it would be too low if I didn't do that. So yeah.
You could always pick the box up. Anyway, the best lantern villains, maybe the different corps. Okay. Well, maybe we can do the different lantern corps. We can tier list all the different corps. all the different colors of lanterns. I think that might be a good option. So we'll take that under advisement, everybody. Thank you so much for giving us a watch today live. If you're watching live and you enjoyed the show, please do hit that like button. We appreciate you guys stopping by, and we appreciate all the live commenting. We even got some show. If you showed up late, there you go. Get a new theme. We are all excited for the new Lantern show. I feel like Filmology is saying I feel like it might be one of the best one of those shows we were blown away by. Having a different tone than Superman would be good. I think it's gonna have a different tone. That's the whole idea here. Yeah. Spider-Man villains. You know what, John? That's a good one, actually.
That would be underrated. Are we just talking about movies? Because Spider-Man has a lot of villains.
Maybe we just do the ones from the movies. Maybe just the ones from the movies. All right. Well, Tony, with that, thank you, Dan and Juan. Thank you, friends, for the show, guys, says Marco. Yes, best Lantern villains would be cool. Okay. Well, with that, we will leave you for the night, and then we'll be back tomorrow. Liz will be back on the show. We're going to be talking more movies and TV show news on DCU Daily, maybe some MCU Weekly. And then on Friday, we'll be back doing it again. And then Fancast Friday. Power Girl in the lead right now in the vote. The poll is live, and you can change that if you want to and vote for something else instead. But until then, thank you for watching. This has been a tier list for Green Lanterns, Earth-based Green Lanterns specifically. And since it's another DC topic, as we usually like to leave you, we'll find our way out with the DCU Daily intro, because of course, I think this tier list was blessed from the beginning.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see.
Right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts.
Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in a stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all in the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto.
Hunka hunka.
Fuck Jeff Snyder.